Step right up, Darksiders, to a tale of laughter and dreams. Today you'll meet Jingles, a clown who once brought joy to young and old alike. As the spotlight fades and the circus leaves town, a different show begins. One where the line between comedy and tragedy blurs. Listen closely, for this is the story of Jingles the Clown.
Jingles had been a clown for decades, his life dedicated to bringing joy to others. But as years passed, his act grew stale, audiences dwindled, and depression set in. Desperate to reclaim his former glory, Jingles turned to drugs, spiraling further into darkness. One night, in a drug-induced haze, Jingles stumbled upon a mysterious street vendor. The vendor offered him a plain white box containing special clown makeup. Desperate for change, Jingles bought it without hesitation. The next morning, Jingles applied the new makeup. It was vibrant, perfect, and it wouldn't come off. Suddenly, bookings flooded in. Children laughed harder, adults smiled wider. Jingles felt alive again, but something was different. As weeks passed, Jingles' popularity soared. Yet with each performance, a nagging feeling grew. He'd wake up with no memory of returning home, his costume pristine despite hours of wear. One evening, while watching the local news, Jingles froze. A reporter discussed a string of disappearances, not just children, but a cab driver and a police officer too. The last known sighting of each victim, a clown. Panic set in. Jingles tried to remove his makeup, but it wouldn't budge. He scrubbed until his skin bled, the white and red mixing into a horrifying mask. A knock at the door startled him. It was Detective Marlowe investigating the disappearances. Jingles maintained his innocence, his painted smile never faltering. The detective left unconvinced, promising to return. That night, Jingles dreamed of laughter, balloons, and a cab ride that ended in screams. He saw flashes of a struggle with a police officer, a badge glinting in moonlight. He awoke screaming, sheets soaked with sweat, and something darker. Desperate for answers, Jingles retraced his steps to find the vendor. The alley was empty, save for a crumpled flyer advertising a circus that had left town weeks ago. Returning home, Jingles found Detective Marlowe waiting. "We found something," Marlowe said gravely, "under your floorboards." As if in a trance, Jingles watched himself lunge at Marlowe. The detective's gun fired and Jingles crumpled to the ground. In his final moments, the veil lifted. There was no vendor, no special makeup. The drugs had warped his mind, creating a fantasy to shield him from the horrors he'd committed. Each performance had ended in tragedy, the laughter of children silenced forever. But his rampage hadn't stopped there. A cab driver who recognized him, a police officer who got too close, all fell victim to Jingles' madness. As life faded, Jingles saw his reflection in a shattered mirror. His face was bare, streaked with tears, the clown long gone. In the distance, he heard the fading echo of childish giggles, a car engine revving, and a police siren wailing, all merging into one final haunting laugh.
In his desperation to reclaim joy, Jingles descended into madness, leaving a trail of sorrow in his wake. His painted smile concealed the darkest of truths, proving that sometimes the most chilling monsters wear the happiest faces, and their performances extend far beyond the circus ring. Please do join us next time for a haunting tale you won't want to miss. The Possession of David Carter.